Just a Thought, a show that starts with a simple premise and explores how different people view different subjects. The greatest philosophies, the most revolutionary changes, and the greatest inventions. And all of them started with just a thought.
What it do, good people. Happy Sunday. We kicking the week off with a little couple of thoughts from me and Anna on my left, maybe your right. H-Spag, thank you for jumping in the chat and good Sunday night to you. Sometimes you gotta check because time be melting away. Um, if y'all don't know, we are coming from the 202 out here with the 810 family. Otis in the background helping us out with the comments and things. He'll kick in every now and then to join in with the conversation. I am Yogi G. I am a DC resident, and we are blessed to be able to come and share with you the things that we are seeing from boots to grounds in the District of Columbia area, aka the Thunderdome, aka Apocalypse Center, aka Thanos Snap territory. What's up, brother Elliot? Thank you for joining us tonight. Anna. Oh, wait. Before I kick it over to Anna, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure you share with a friend. Let them know we on here. And what's my usual spiel? If you don't know, why 810 is on the 202 is coming to 810 is because we love 810 News Media Group and we see a lot of similarities here in the District of Columbia that are happening in Flint, Michigan. So we thought it would be great to link up and just talk about the similarities and see if we can build some thought around how we liberate our people, as we say. Um, but then also because Mickey and Trevor and the gang are looking to go nationwide, so you never know who you're going to get up here on 810 News Media Group. So make sure you subscribe while you hit that like button. All right, Anna, go ahead and say something to the people.
I'm gonna share a quick video, Mickey, because I just forgot that reality is it's going on 12 years. Not that one, Mickey. I got it. I'm gonna share it because you ain't gonna. Give me 1 second. Y'all see it?
Yeah. Can't hear anything though, but
I don't know if I can put it because of the music. You know, they have the thing, but that is Relisha Rudd, right, Yolanda? I mean, Yogi G. And It's marked 12 years, and that girl still has not been found. And so I remembered I said that before I started the show, I wanted to give her flowers because that little girl was kidnapped right here in DC. And she's been missing now 12 years. And I just wanted to give her, some recognition for Relisha Rudd. There's a documentary that's out right now. Yogi G, if you get a chance, I'm going to try to look it up so we can tell them what to go see. But it's literally her story. And it's literally 12 years. So this week, I wanted to talk about things that are going on this week. I just wanted to give her flowers. So I'm going to pull that out. All right. Sorry about that. Wanted to give her flowers and talk about some things. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So this week, gosh, what a week. Some good things going on this week and some things that are not so good. But of course, DC Howard homecoming this week. Saw a lot of people out there celebrating. Later on, we'll get into the logistics of what things that are going on, things you might have heard. But it's nice to see that DJ D Nice was there at the Yard in Howard. And if you know my age group, who DJ D Nice is, he's back with KRS-One back in the 80s when rap, 70s is when rap first initiated. But when hip hop, for me, I started paying attention a little bit more. I was probably like 5 or 6 around that time. So not trying to say my age, but other things. Went to some events this week. We got a lot of people that are running in our community. It's like so we see all this campaigning. So I don't know, Yogi G. Just if you're ready, we could start showing people this week what videos hit the airways this week.
As far as what?
Things that we've seen this week on social media.
Oh, word. You make that happen.
Go ahead, Mickey. If y'all can see, of course, you know that's in Chicago. And so that was on, I saw that on the Joy Reid show. Here it is, a lady, I guess we don't know the full thing that's being said, but literally she was attacked by an agent and thrown down to the ground. And so I don't know if y'all been seeing in the news. They have finally, in certain cities in Chicago, I got to give it to the Chicago mayor. He put it now. And even New York, matter of fact, even in New York, what's her name? The one that Donald Trump tried to take down, who said that she was illegally doing something with mortgage fraud, has actually put it that you could actually submit videos. And we have that in DC too, of illegal kidnapping going on. We're always talking about illegals. No, let's talk about illegal kidnapping. So that's one video that's out there right now. Mickey, you can go to the next one.
Give me 1 second. I'm putting it up now.
Okay. So these are things that saw all over the week. Don't know if you saw it, but it's real out here.
Yeah, I have been just kind of keeping track of what's happening in Portland, and then still haven't seen some things happening in Chicago and stuff. I know for here in DC, the big story is about our National Guard now moving into making arrests. So I'm not quite clear if it's a one-off or not, but I know that's the big thing that's been elevated because up until now, our the National Guard hasn't engaged with civilians. Um, so there's no sound in this either.
Oh, I don't know. Mickey would know if it has music. But did you see at the bottom of that, Yogi G? The first thing they claimed was right real quick that NPD was not involved, just like our mayor says that DC Police Department is not involved. Chicago Police Department is not involved. But what we're not talking about is in the nation's capital, I think we have 7 to 8 different type of pretty much policing. So we have Capitol Police, we have state police. Well, the state police is outside of Maryland, but they come in. We have Homeland Security. We have Metro Police. We have WMATA, you know, when you're at the Metro, that police. We have like, oh my God, you name it, we have it. But
give me 1 second.
Okay.
The only reason I ain't playing it because it is music in them. That's why I had to mute.
That's what I was thinking. I said that those ones must have had music. I don't know. There's another one too, Mickey.
I'm finna put it up for you. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Yogi G, read what Brother Elliot said.
Brother Elliot said we have to be more vigilant about watching out for each other. I think that was like when we were talking about what happened for Relisha Rudd. Yeah, that was unfortunate. It was a lot of I don't know if commotion is the right word I want to use to it. We had a large facility that was formerly a hospital called DC General here in DC, and it housed a lot of the families who were experiencing transition from homelessness or currently unhoused. And it wasn't the best conditions, and this mother was allegedly, from the different news reports, she was dealing with mental illness. And she had trusted a guy who was a janitor there at this shelter facility, and what's happening, JoJo Freeman, thank you, what's happening. And so the mother had trusted Relisha to the janitor, and he took her off the premises, and they never saw her again, evident on some videos. And then he unalived himself. So there's not even somebody to even try to get information from to even find out what her whereabouts may be or anything like that. So 12 years and they still don't have any leads on this young lady, whether she's still with us or she's been sold off or anything like that. So that's um, the unfortunate circumstances of one, having a child that's in the system, two, being very prominent in what, like, the disregard that happens for families that are dealing with homelessness and things like that. I remember they were supposed to close this facility at one point, and because they didn't have anywhere to rehouse the families, because they had a significant amount of families there, they put a new playground, as a good faith measure on the facilities, but it didn't rehouse the families, and then eventually they had to rehouse everybody there. And let's see, Brother Elliot said, so he took her life and then took his life. Yeah, well, allegedly, Brother Elliot, we still don't know. That's why Anna was saying that 12 years later, they're still looking for her. There's nothing, they haven't found anything that confirmed whether or not she was still with us or whether she had been unalived as well. So we don't know.
Or she might have been trafficked. We don't know if it's
She
something.
could have been, yeah, or she could have been trafficked. So we don't, as a community, we still don't know. Yeah. But I think Otis had that video ready for you.
Oh, okay.
Signed, they have the right to an attorney when they're interacting with ICE agents. And that's what we've been doing as part of the rapid response network with the Illinois Coalition for Immigrant and Refugee Rights. So we received a report yesterday that a landscaper was captured by ICE agents in my district, in my neighborhood of Uptown. And so we went to the location to, again, provide assistance and to make sure that folks know their rights. And so at one point we were sandwiched in between two ICE cars, one in front of us and one behind us, where an ICE agent went to the passenger side of the car, which I was in, and he pointed a gun directly at my face without any warning whatsoever, and then told us to identify ourselves, of which I then said, I'm an elected official, I'm State Representative Han Nguyen. We are within the rights to do what we have to do to inform our neighbors of their rights. And at that point in time, they wanted to bash in the windows of the car as well.
How did you know they wanted to bash in the windows of the car?
They said literally at that moment that they were like, we're going to bash these windows in.
This is before the recording starts?
This is before the recording starts. That's absolutely right. And so they had a gun pointed to my face on the passenger side before the recording starts. So when my colleague started recording, they then realized that there was a camera to them. And again, these were ICE agents who are wearing masks. Their badges aren't very clear, and so they then withdrew the gun away from the car, and then they went away.
You saw that response from the Department of Homeland Security. Do you take issue with anything they said?
Absolutely. I think what they said is an absolute lie. I think if they were being truthful, they should release the body cameras of these ICE agents and what they actually did to me and to my colleague.
So what y'all seeing is it doesn't matter whether you're undocumented, it doesn't matter. They're literally policing as if they're the police, and they're literally just going up to anyone doing things that are scary. I mean, we look at prior to this happening, we look at the things that we fought all this time to make sure that that Black Lives Matter, with the way police were handling young Black men. But now we have police who can't even police, and finally they're giving them the rights to be able to share some videos to probably hold these guys accountable. But my question is, who hired these guys? And from what I'm hearing, that none of these men that are hired are even qualified to even be in position mentally, physically, or intellectually to be hired. And this whole thing with Trump with DEI was a huge thing. Like, we need to stop giving black and brown people a pointer ahead to get position that they should apply like everyone else. But what we see going on now in our community is people being hired who are not qualified for these positions, breaking the law because they do not know civics. They do not know the rights of people. You have a right for a due process. Go ahead, Yogi G.
I'm not surprised by it. When you're galvanizing lynch mobs, I don't think that credentials is something that they're looking for. This is not a sane act. It is a calculated act where they just need bodies that are bloodthirsty. And so, like, for me, when you ask questions like, or when we point out things like these people don't have credentials or anything like that, or they're not trained, they're not supposed to be trained. They're trained for one thing, to be able to go out, inflict, I mean, the law, the version of law that they've been gifted with, and to go out here and bag bodies. It's the same system, just more lawlessness is happening. Um, so, I mean, no, that's just my thoughts on it. Like, when you think about even the process, what's happened to me, Freeze Barbecue and Judge Boy, when you think about the process of even how they do their hiring and how many people, like, I always think about that video when they had their hiring fair and that line was wrapped around the building. And these were people who clearly were from all walks of life. And I'm trying to be kind about the mental intelligence that was showing up in these interviews. But the draw in is why you're going to get all kinds of quacks and crooks that are going to be a part of this, because they're offering you your livelihood back pretty much because they're bankrupting anybody else is not willing to be a part of the regime. So it's really just unfortunate. And um, while we pointed out, my question is always going to be, what are people willing to do to fight for justice and liberty? Because if they're fighting with guns and tactics where they're willing to brutalize you and things like that, then you sitting there pointing your finger talking about what your rights are is not going to cut it. So for me, it just shows me that I got some training to do, and I need to be getting myself with some people that's really do activate because they're being activated. So those are my thoughts towards that. What's up, Jungle? Thanks for joining us.
I guess we could say hi to the people because a lot of people came in. I can't see.
I just said hi.
Oh, I didn't know if you. I can't see the chat. So I ain't know.
This is checked out, and I don't know how to elevate the people in the thing. So I'm just catching everybody listening. Hello, and thank you for joining us on Just a Thought. I'm Yogi G. If you don't know, and that's Ana to my left. Maybe you're right. I don't know. But good evening. Thank you for joining us. We have greeted the people.
Mickey, do you see the next video? Did it come up?
I think, ladies and gentlemen, Otis might be asleep at the back of the wheel. So give us a moment, please, to be able to tap in to these videos.
I'm sleeping. What you need to put up?
Do you see the next video that was after that one?
Hold on 1 second.
If you don't see it, I'll try.
Hold on 1 second.
See, this is what happens when you get back on the Chitna circuit.
Yeah, ain't that something right there?
Get out. Execution of videos as quickly as possible.
Hey, hold on. Tell y'all something. Let me tell y'all the devil's something in person. This is why I wanted it up right here. This is what all this is about to have old Otis ready to crash out. This is right here.
We don't need you crashing out. It's okay.
This is what she wanted to see right here.
Oh my goodness.
So yes, that was it's not a video, but it's actually a post, and we're just gonna keep going down. Now you see, he's actually broke his own history. So he has now been the second president to put us in a shutdown. The first time he was in office, 35 days, and that was very long. And now we're at 22. But people, hold on for dear life because there's some other things that are going to be affected. And that is our subsidies we get. So I wanted to pull up some, because Mickey been asking, Ana, what is it? Why with the federal government shutting down. Like, what is the real reason as to why the Democrats want to negotiate, but they're not even coming to the table about the premiums? Because you see in the beginning, the first bill that went through was the big beautiful bill. And you see Trump smiling on the 4th of July on the table because he always has to do a huge event at the White House, celebrating that he has kicked off millions of people off of Medicare assistance and Medicaid. Now this portion of it is to hit the middle class, and the middle class, in order for them to stay middle class, they can't afford for their premiums to go up. So this is why the government is shut down right now. The government is shut down because this is like the last bit before December 31st the tax breaks will expire. And that means premiums will go up to 114%. I'm not lying. Y'all can look this up. 114%. So you know the effects of that are very dangerous. So there's a video, Mickey. I don't know if you see it, or probably I didn't send it to you, but I can put it up. Hold on. Is it that one? And this guy right here, hold on. Let me put it up. Is that it? Yeah, here we go.
Granville rural area, and I'm basically going to back up what you said about Medicare cuts coming. They're here. I have an allergy. For 20 years now, I've been getting injections. Between Medicare and my secondary, I didn't have to pay anything. The last 2 injections I got, which is every 6 weeks, I received a bill for $481 each time. The cuts are coming.
Ron, thank you. If you want to take a look as you're approaching open enrollment, we're happy to help you if you wanted to find another plan, perhaps, that might have better coverage for your particular injections. Open enrollment is a time for folks to be able to make changes to their healthcare plans. And as I mentioned, it's starting on October 15th of this year. And our office has a team of caseworkers, they're social workers, and we love helping people sign up for healthcare in our office, okay? But the broader point remains. There's a $500 billion cut to Medicare that's coming. There's like a $700 billion cut to Medicaid that's coming. And then millions of Americans who buy their own healthcare coverage through the marketplace, healthcare.gov or Get Covered Illinois, are going to see their premiums increase significantly. For those of you who have employer-sponsored coverage, good coverage, union coverage, good insurance, whatever it is that you want to call it, your costs are going to go up as well as individual providers, clinics, doctors raise their rates as well. Healthcare is going to go up in most, if not every way. It is coming, and it's going to be extremely expensive. And this is all being done to give the billionaires like Elon a tax break. That's what this is about. They chose them over us, and I think that's wrong.
My name is Ron Chatto, and I'm from the Granville rural area, and I'm basically
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah.
What you think? What you think, Yogi G?
I think it's about to be rough. A lot of people are realizing just what side of the fence they really on since they made the decision to support Captain Orange for this 2025 and great beyond. And I think that either it's going to work 2 ways. Either they're going to join the people that were already feeling the burn before they made this decision and we change as a country, or either we're going to have to go back to bloodshed being the result. And people just waving white flags because they tired of losing bodies. But I will say this. So, Uncle Cole, how you doing? He said hi to you and Mick. And Sherry Allen said hi to you and Mick as well. Oh, hello. They say hi to me too. I found this on the web.
Am I still there?
Yeah, you still there. Brother Elliot said revolution. That's what I'm saying, Brother Elliot. It's looking a lot like war. It's looking a lot like we're gonna have to revise some things in order for you to regain power. You're gonna have to say a few things with your chest. So I'm all down for shaking tambourines and banging on pots because that's what we still got people doing here in DC. But I don't think that's gonna keep us safe for long. So I personally, as I said before, am looking for some people that's ready to walk it like they talk it and not just keep doing Spider-Man memes pointing at each other and keep pointing out what's happening. Because I think we all can see what's happening right now. Even if you don't want to believe, and you might catch a documentary or two, you'll definitely see that we in some streets and territories that we've been before. Um, but yeah, so you gotta make some decisions these days. You can't just sit here blindly and act like you're not affected by the things that are coming down the pipeline. Because now, as you can see, we all catching it. Becky B, suicide rates is definitely about to increase. I have some personal opinions that might not be favorable to most of the people that are viewing us tonight, so I keep those to myself. Anna, you got any thoughts?
Oh, I was gonna. Um, sorry, I was looking for my next video to put up because it's kind of like answering all these things to debunk a lot of conversation that has been said. With the myths of things and debunking the reality of what is out there. So right now, because after the 4th of July, as you heard, or October, people have been affected. Florida got hit really hard. I have a couple friends like Cassandra, my friend Cassandra, just the other day when Medicare got hit hard. Medicaid, because it's a state program, you're not going to see unless they reach out to you personally, which will be like when it's time for you to recertify, is when you might get the effect of it. But if it's not time for you to recertify and you have Medicaid, which is like AmeriHealth is in Michigan as well as AmeriHealth is in DC, you won't see the effects right away until it's time for you to recertify. But if you have Medicare, Plan A, Plan B, you have to be really, really cautious on what it is that you get and seeing if there's any programming out there to get help, because it is coming right now and it's scary. Because the other day, I'll be honest with you, I went to the doctor prescribed me some. I went to the pharmacy and they refused to give me my prescription. And the first thing they said, well, you have other insurance. And I said, no, this is the only insurance I have. And it was scary because the prescription was like over $400, just like that guy said. And I called and I ranted, and it's terrible when you got to literally fight for you to get something, some type of help, especially with her health. And as Black and brown people, and even as poor class people, if you don't have the money and the funds, you're not generally going to be picking the right thing to eat. Because you're usually eating fast and you're looking at things that are cost effective. And if you go to Whole Foods, I don't know what they have in Flint, Michigan, but we have Mom's, we have Whole Foods, Trader Joe's has some good, decent. But the reality is when we go to these stores, the price of fruits and vegetables and healthy items to pick are crazy. I remember one time I was with Yogi G and we were at Giant. She picked this. She said, I want some avocado oil. And I was saying to myself, like, I don't know if I want to buy that avocado oil. And it was $21. You remember that, Yogi G? $21. So you got to make a decision on what you're going to eat and buy to eat right. So those are some real things that are going on. Another thing we are going to experience now, even with the premiums, all that. I'm going to stay on that before I go to the next part. I'm going to try to put this video up. Go ahead, Yogi G.
I was just going to say what I will say what we're seeing here in DC, and just if you on social media kind of just exploring other areas than what's in front of you, they are having more of people in the community gardens, or people who are running mutual aids are making it more accessible for people, or just really working around the clock to let people know that you have options, right? You're not going to be in a food crisis. You might have to adjust your taste buds. But definitely, we have seen more people coming through with being able to help people get access to food, whether it's been churches, whether it's been community gardens directly, whether it's been our community mutual aid groups that are not connected to those things, but are now starting to interconnect. So there's a lot of goodness that's still coming out of chaos. I guess that's the point that I'm making. Especially like I know Aldi's is one of those grocery stores that we have here that are starting to help people be able to create meals for $40. I think you could feed 4 people for $40 and stuff like that. So while all this negative stuff is happening, there are resources that people can be able to tap into. I'm going to read this comment from Brother Elliot. We have to make sure we take care of each other and trade and barter and not panic, but be strategic. Exactly. Um, Sherry Allen said 5 items might cost you $50. $50 is generous. 5 items is 100 here, depending on what store you go to. Sherry Allen, you go to Safeway, you screwed. Giant, yeah, you might have to, you might have to walk out of there. You know, we got a lot of people that's talking about. Oh, wait, before we pivot, have you seen the social media videos that have been up about people talking about how they're going to be looting on November 1st? Anna, have you seen it?
No, I haven't, but I did say, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Uh, before, well, we can get into the conversation. That video is going to take a second because it literally breaks the stats down of all the states that are going to be affected. And as you know, I literally I spoke ahead of what I heard, but I guess now Michigan, I'm sorry, but the word is now they have changed their mind. Slokin, whatever her name is, y'all, Senator, misspoke, and November 1st, literally every state will face possibly not, if they don't get their own money to supplement, people will not get food assistance. And I wanted to show you the stats of Michigan and the stats of the District of Columbia, and the stats of what states have the most people on it. But I did say, going back to what your thought was, Yogi G, I told my friend today, I said, this is really scary because the reality is it's not just people that are sitting on their tail collecting food stamps. There are people that go to work that possibly make under $20 an hour. The rent is sky roof, and they get possibly, and I'm not talking about DC, because if you in DC, you get $400, you can't even get $16. You got to be so broke. You ain't got nothing coming in to get assistance. But for other states, people can still be working and still get food subsidies, like SNAP benefits. But I did tell my girlfriend the other day, I don't know if I love my sneakers. I ain't gonna lie to you. I love my sneakers. I said, I don't know if I'm gonna be going out here with my sneakers. I don't even know if I'm gonna be carrying my purse. I don't know what I'm gonna be doing when I leave after November 1st. Because the reality is, we already having shootings going on for miscommunication. But we're gonna have some, and not trying to justify Trump trying to say he need to come in here and do something to justify war. Because that's not it. I sometimes I think, is this a plan that they're trying to get us to fight so he can stay in office? That's what I'm thinking. He said, what's the next way we can get him? We're not getting them to fight the way we kidnapping them, kidnapping Americans, kidnapping kids. So let me see, if we take their food away, will they go and he'll justify to put the National Guard on us. And now that the National Guard supposedly can arrest, I see, like I told you, I see them every day walking up and down. And these are some young guys that are on the National Guard. But some of them, there's a video I do have where some of them are not getting paid. But I will say this, Yogi G, getting back to it, even me, myself, I was kind of concerned when I leave, when I go to work, and when I come home. Because reality, when people are hungry, people will do anything. Why do you think people are stealing now? Because they're hungry. They don't have work. They can't afford where they live at. Now, am I justifying people to beat up people and kill them? No. But I will say, the way you get a city better and the way you get the community more safe is making sure you hand out those resources. That's my thought.
I think so too. And to your point of, this is creating, I see Brother Elliot said, create a situation of panic. They still have people who are not who feel far removed from this whole situation. And in order for them to move into the next phase of like justifying these things that have been happening, you got to get people on your side. And what better way to cause a stir and start taking away people's health care and taking away people's food? And I'm reading this book right now that's about this author named Alicia Garza, and she talked about Reaganomics. And listen, I'm 43. I don't have no problem telling my age. There weren't a lot of conversations that were happening. Like, I knew a few things about Reagan, but I never knew the specifics of why they call it Reaganomics. And a lot of the things that happened back then, you could say are happening now, maybe more extreme or just as extreme, but like definitely it was affected to the point where we had to deal with a lot of devastation and stuff like that. So, um, is it strategy? Yes. If it was a concern to them more about the people and the people being taken care of, will we be in these situations now? No. They're playing hardball, even down to the point where now you're starting to see on Spotify, you're hearing commercials about the how the Democrats are the ones holding people up for Medicare and stuff like that. You're seeing it on YouTube in commercials. You're seeing it all over your social media. You're seeing it in your um, just everywhere that you are, you're seeing the power of media come across. And once November 1st hit, they really are banking on either complete chaos happening because people are trying to survive, or complete chaos happening because now people want demand justice, or what they see to be justice, because they've been informed about where they're really being oppressed from. So it's going to be something. And the crazy part is that the community is really kicking in. And I mean the community as a whole nationwide. People are looking to get ahead of this before people start going into panic about not having access to food. I'm concerned about those little backwater towns. No disrespect, but you know, the ones who don't really have access to social media or fast paced spaces, and how people are looking to uh yes, that is correct, Becky B. Um, but those people who are looking to get supports in those areas, I think that people should start really getting with them, because that's how they drive up their militias. They go to them backwater towns, they give them guns. That's where a lot of your ICE agents and stuff are coming from too, who ain't never been nowhere, and now they get to get out of town and get out of poverty, and they willing to kill for a raccoon. So, you know, y'all might want to, if anybody on this chat, in this chat, is working on mutual aid, find a friend in West Virginia or any of those little backwater towns and make sure they okay, so they think people love them and know that people love them. So join the militias out here. All right, I'm done. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm going to just share this thing and I'm going to scroll just to show you the numbers of Michigan. Let me see if you can see it. Can you see it, Yogi G?
Yeah.
Okay, so in Michigan, you have over 1 million residents. Can you see that? Residents, or 15% of the state population. That means 1 in 7 people receive SNAP benefits, right? And if you look down where it says, can you see where it says Michigan, more than 59% of the SNAP participants are families with children? That's a lot of families. And then more of 39% of those families are members who have older adults or disabled. So a lot of people that are on disability or Social Security, they receive SNAP benefits. And then it also says more than 40% are working families. So this is what I wanted to say. In DC, the numbers you're going to see totally different. I'm going to show you DC. DC numbers are totally different because in DC, you ain't getting crap. So I was talking to a couple of people that live in Michigan that do work and do get SNAP benefits. And I was like, wow, that's actually a good thing. Because reality is, when even if you're working, you got to look at how much you're paying out. Do you really have enough for groceries? And the way inflation is, it's crazy. So I'm gonna pull up the District of Columbia, and in District of Columbia, can you see it, Yogi G? Hello.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, so in the District of Columbia, we have 137,000 District of Columbia residents and 20% of the state population. That means 1 in 5 people receive SNAP benefits. But when they receive SNAP benefits, they're not getting $125 or $194. They're getting $16. So when they say these numbers, what they're telling you is that there is some people out here to get $16 in SNAP benefits, and they still put them on the population. It says more than 54% of SNAP participants are in families with children. More than 34% families are members of who are disabled, and more than 15% are working. So you see the numbers, how low we are in DC. That means working families are going to are already hitting hard with no assistance. But to then take that amount of number, and that's only 15%, that's a lot of people that when they take them food stamps away. I don't know about you, Yogi G. What do you think about that? Like, to me, that is just crazy.
I think this how I'm about to start walking around the city for the next couple of days, just in case people get twisted about what's going on out here. You gotta protect yourself in a whole different kind of way. I don't feel safe with my city leaders because they have not shown me anything about them caring about helping us outside of what's going to be best for their pockets or for our mayor's favorite color, the green. So I mean, we've been here before, right? Like, as somebody who studies history, I can't feel moved or like one way or another other than it's time to just organize, not mobilize, organize. It's a difference. So, I mean, I do appreciate to have the stats and the facts on what it looks like, but as somebody who's living it day to day, who actually depends on SNAP benefits to take care of my family currently because unemployment is through the roof here in the city, it's alarming. And all I can do is just be proactive before we reach November 1st and really get into the resources, start having community conversations about where me and Mike can go in order to make sure that we have what we need, and then making sure that I can spread that information out for it to be helpful to people that I really love. So I'm not surprised by anything that's coming through on this news. Uh, I'm more intrigued about how I can do my part and make sure that everybody else is being accountable for doing their part.
So I have a question for you, Yogi G. What do you think we can do for ways? So I mean, we might be laughing or whatever. We're gonna cover our faces or whatever, but it's real. What are ways we can do? Because I heard some stuff on Urban View. I listen to Urban View on XM all the time. Great, all the time I'm in my vehicle. That's what I like hearing. But my question is, you still on there?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Girl, why am I? It look like I paused. Sorry. So my question to you is, what are ways we can do to help people when they get to this point they need help as a community? What would you tell the community on ways that we can help if the government sits there and does not play a role in this?
I've said it several times over since we've been talking about this that there are mutual aids that are happening. So if you're not familiar, if your city or state has mutual aids, that's one way that you can start preparing yourself to try to soften the blow of November 1st if it affects you. There are a lot of restaurants and other mom and pop shops that are definitely looking out for the furloughed federal workers. So if you are not familiar with any of those resources, I would implore you to please start looking into that. Um, this is something that you can be able to do. You can start considering how you can grow in your own space. There are aero gardens that you can purchase that are inexpensive. So at least you can start buying, being able to kind of soften some of the costs of like not having to worry about your herbs, not having to worry about like the vegetables and things like that. There's things that you could do in your own home to be able to kind of compensate for going to a physical grocery store. If you know where there are any farmers markets that are near you, maybe they're starting to do some things that are going to help to soften the blow. You just really have to get out of your box and do some research to figure out how to help yourself first and then your community members, because we all are going to need everybody and linking up with people that are going to be strong during these times. Let's see, Denise. Wait. So Uncle Cole said my parents had gardens. They grew everything for themselves. God bless your parents, Uncle Cole, because some of us ain't even got a little tree to plant on, let alone a whole space to make a garden. So that's why we do community gardens around here. Um, these billionaires always played it like Hunger Games for real. Absolutely. I always tell people to look at Hunger Games if you're looking for your survival guide for 2025. Denise said a lot of seniors might only get like $15 to $25 in EBT or SNAP, but it's the other programs you're eligible for if you receive SNAP or EBT, like the Lifeline benefits for affordable Wi-Fi. That's helpful. Thank you, Denise, for sharing that information. And then Sherry Allen said, my mom was 100 years old and couldn't get but $16 for food stamps.
Yeah, so I'm saying that famous $16,
Yeah, you
and it's
heard
a
out.
slap in the face.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Uh,
but I know, I think about that, but then I know people that don't look like me that do work and get SNAP benefits. It ain't no $16. So, I don't know if it's like certain zip codes, the rate is different. I would love to do some research on that because I know people that do not look like me, they get more in SNAP benefits and they do have a check coming in. So I always wonder how is it that some people have kids and work and they have the audacity to give you $16. And I do know that there's some other things as long as you're eligible, you're able to get some other things. I do know and I do understand that, but food, food, you need sleep, and you need a roof over your head. Those are things you need. You need to be able to rest. Because I know you saw that movie where when them people weren't resting, your mind goes crazy. So, and you need food to survive. So, I'm sorry. At this point, they're gonna try to make us like a third world country where people over there eating clay, going on the ground, turning clay into some food. But I like those ideas, Yogi G. You were talking about the different farming and stuff. But some other resources I would say is that teaching each other how to cook because I remember Sister Audrey had did on when she was on 810. She had did a show about canning, canning your food, and that could be very old people like, oh, that's too much work. But I think about like what's going on now. Yes, like right now I'm working, but if I didn't work and there is no food assistance, then what is your next step? So we have to learn how to save our food. We have to learn how to purchase it and be able to properly store it in our refrigerators.
But that goes hand in hand, right? Because that's assuming that you have access to be even purchase food. So that's why I mentioned those. First, you have to think about it. You have to have access to the food in order to get those skill sets to learn how to do those things. And I think that while we are experiencing something very egregious, right? Because ideally, the whole thing about capitalism is you pay into it to get something out, ideally. And so, like, we talk about what initially seems like something that belongs to us, right? But what we're seeing people do is build a sustainable system outside of the system. And I'm all gun ho for that. One, if we don't have access to the food stamps, then they can't do this trick again. And as far as like holding it over our heads to use it as a political play. And then the community has control over the poisons that are coming in and out of your body. Now, I'm sure that they will find a way to mess it up. No different than what they did when Black Panthers or the Move movement were doing the WIC programming in the community. They found a way to destroy it, and then they took it over to take over us, right? So that's why we all up in the uproar because we get ready to lose our SNAP benefits. I personally, while I am somebody who relies on SNAP benefits to take care of me and my family, am excited about the opportunity for us to build something that's going to be our own, sustainable for us to be able to take care of each other. And hopefully we'll see more grocery stores buy into that because it's supporting the farmers and things like that. There's an opportunity for us to turn this thing around for our greater good. Once again, if we are more proactive than being reactive and not being in a panic and start victimizing our circumstances. I just refuse to sit here and mourn over something that was never mine in the first place. But I will rejoice over the fact that I get to connect with my community and watch us connect with each other in a way that's going to help keep us all safe, fed, and moving forward to the next fight and all this shit that we got going on.
So Yogi G, I'm gonna share the video you sent to me earlier. Let me see if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Impacted by the government shutdown that is threatening your SNAP benefits. Here is one way that you can get access to free groceries that most people don't even know exist. Hi, my name is Beverly. I'm a COO and your Chief Empowerment Officer. And the program is the Emergency Food Assistance Program through the USDA. All 50 states, including DC and Puerto Rico, have TFAP distribution programs happening right now, but most people have never even heard of it. The biggest thing is that this is not charity. This is the USDA redistributing American-grown food that has already been purchased from farmers. Once accepted into this program, you get monthly boxes that include meat, dairy, eggs, fresh produce, canned goods, rice, pasta, juice, peanut butter. It's basically a big box of essentials, and it's completely free if you qualify after application. Here's the thing about qualifying. The income limits are way higher than SNAP. You can make up to 300% of the poverty line. Once you're in, they'll send you these packages monthly, or they will direct you to distribution centers where you can pick them up monthly. And it doesn't compete with SNAP. So even when the government comes back online, whenever that will be, you can still keep the program as long as you meet the income requirements. Go to USDA.gov, or you can just use a search engine to find the Emergency Food Assistance Program. It'll let you click on your state, and it will tell you the distribution centers that are in your area. It walks you through how to apply so that you can get access to these resources now. And if you know any seniors who are struggling with food costs, definitely share this with them, because a lot of seniors qualify even if they are on Social Security and they don't even know. These programs are hidden in plain sight and funded by your tax dollars. Hopefully this will be a resource that is beneficial to you and will help you get access to the groceries you need.
I thought that was neat when you shared that to me, and I looked for it. So I'm gonna look that program up, and I definitely gonna share it if to see how people can apply for that. What did Shardy Shar write?
I just purchased a book this afternoon from the Dollar Tree about cooking plant-based recipes for crock posts or crock pots, maybe. And then Sherry Allen said, Yogi G, we are always underestimated. We have to go back to our roots. Absolutely. I find a lot of peace in the past, Sherry Allen. And appreciate the support, Uncle Cole. And Shawty Shara finishes up while this regime is very demonic and diabolical. However, there are certainly ways to survive and become successful in surviving the wickedness of this regime, no matter what they try to do. And then said, I hope those distribution centers have organic plant-based food in those packages they're giving out. Now that's the thing, Shawty Shard, man. Listen, when you talk about people in survival mode, I think that to the point of what you saw in the video, a lot of people start thinking about sustainable foods as far as like what's going to be fattening, what's going to hold you, and will you have any things. You got to do your research, and if that's your bag, the way you're the educator and stuff like that, and you are taking on that task of educating and getting the knowledge about how you can be healthy while sustaining the depression, then I would suggest that you start taking that knowledge and bringing it to the community, brother or sister, you know, and make sure that you share that information so that people can properly prepare, you know. We can't just be pointing our finger, being caught and obvious, and not bringing the community and bring the knowledge back that we learning ourselves. That's selfish. Why didn't Whitmore put in a food emergency access for Michigan, having so many people dependent on SNAP that came from Sherry Island? I don't know. Maybe Mick heard something about it. I don't. With all respect due, you know, I come in and out of other people's spots, so I don't have any knowledge about that part. Sherry Allen. I couldn't get help even with minors when I was below poverty income. Flint has most things based on if you are on Medicaid. It is like if you're not on state aid, they didn't help you. I appreciate you sharing that thought.
I think about what Sherry Allen said. So I was looking at Whitmore actually today, because when I was looking at the stats, and she is not even speaking about it. Same with our mayor is not even speaking about it. I think they're staying away from the conversation because, you know, I don't know what the powers that be on how they pull emergency money. But the benefit of Michigan being a state, it's a little bit more help that they can get. With us not being a state, we have to rely on our local tax dollars. And depending on where we are, we already been hit with the Republicans holding our money. So I think it's going to be a little harder for us. But as far as the state, I do remember them saying that they were going to use their own money to cover for November. But now it seems like they done threw that out. So I do not know, but I've been reading on her, and she hasn't made not one statement. And look, November 1st, you know, is around the corner, and while our kids are going to go out there and go trick or treating and get some candy, be celebrating, be happy, you know, the next day might have to face some real issues, and people can't use all their money for food, you know, especially like when they get SNAP benefits. Some of them, you know, when they get TANF, they do get monies, but reality is if you use all that money right away, How are you going to survive for the rest of the month? Let me put her comment up. Can you read her comment right here?
Well, Flint folks should be in an uproar because the mayor refused to sign off on the funds for St. Mark food distribution.
I was just about to ask because I do remember y'all talking about that in Flint. And it's the same thing here. But for that, that's sad if the mayor didn't sign. I don't know, B. Marie, is council allowed to play a part in that to bring that back up to see how they can, because I know in DC, whenever the mayor might say something, the council, because the council's supposed to be for the people, can actually bring that back up.
Yeah, Shardie Shaw said Denise is so right. They will not help you if your income is a little bit above the poverty line. The powers that be or something else here. It's something else here too. I don't know if we reiterated enough that like here in the nation's capital, where most people think that we are elevated by blackness, we're not. We're just as ghetto as any other space, and I mean ghetto in the spot that you got all these people with all these leadership titles, and we still no further along than we were in the '60s. If not, thanks to Agent Orange right now and his crew, we're walking several steps back. So, yeah, it's happening everywhere. But that's why I spoke to the point where this is a great opportunity for us to reconnect with community and making sure that we strengthen what we have access to, what we can make happen for each other, and stop being overly dependent on the government that is not looking to be dependent on, no having you be a dependent. Uh, What's up, B. Marie? Thank you for tapping in. Sherry Allen said they are telling people not to expect SNAP in November. And then I see highlighted the council voted to approve the funds.
So that's unfortunate if the council did that. So guess what? Now the people, y'all got to get that mayor out. But I mean, I don't know if I don't know how Michigan works, but the fact that he did that, it's. I don't know. Is there other besides St. Mark? Are there other food where they might have moved the money to? Like I don't know if how Flint. It's messed up that they did that to that church, but I don't know if there's other major. I don't remember when I went to Flint seeing major grocery stores, but I do know that some grocery stores, like if you look at certain days when they give you as a nonprofit, and if anyone that lives in a community and you have a nonprofit like A10 News Media Group's a nonprofit, you can actually sign up to get food through the grocery stores to distribute yourself. That's how you could do it in DC. That's how you do it in Maryland. I don't know what Michigan says, but that's messed up to hear that. I think Marcia has a comment.
Yeah. Marcia said, we take a lot of things for granted. We had a garden and it canned. My grandmother did, so we did. We washed mason jars every spring, and my mom and grandmother reordered the lids. We learned sustainability. Listen, and so since that's a skill set that your family has passed along to you, I think that that is something worth taking out into the community and finding a space that will welcome you sharing that knowledge, Marcia. And that's coming from an organizer's heart and mind. Um, and Sherry Allen honestly, that's real honor. We got to get that guy out. Hey, Otis, listen, it's 7:58, and if you got a little time to talk to the people, they had some questions about Flint in the food area. You got any?
Yeah. You heard any updates?
Not yet. That's why we were saying they should help St. Mark's. They should have paid St. Mark's because St. Mark's, Pastor Thompson was out there feeding the community. That's why his money needed to be paid.
So basically, he's at a halt. He's not getting anything.
None.
So what is it that they said they voted? Because Shari started, from what I understand, several months ago, the Flint City Council voted yes to accommodate those funds to St. Mark for their food distribution.
The mayor didn't send it over. They was coming up with excuses saying it take time. That he don't care for Pastor Thompson. So him being this in his ways is just holding up. But this shouldn't be a time to hold up.
Damn.
Man, I see so many people out here protesting for no kings. I think people need to go to Flint and protest this mayor getting the hell on out. blocking your food, blocking from your pipes being fixed, pretty much blocking anything that I hear. And that's unfortunate because, I don't know. I'm gonna pray that possibly he might get a change of heart, because when November 1st hits, we don't know how people are going to react. We do not know how people are going to react.
All I gotta say as we hit 8 o'clock is, good people in the chat, we appreciate you always tapping in and supporting us here on A10 News Media Group from the 202. I hope that everybody here, because I know we travel from different chats, whether it's the morning recall, whether it's Black Watch, maybe it's Conspiracy Tuesday, whether it's Nightly Knit, all this conversation is centered around you being more informed so that you can make informed and educated decisions, do more research, fact check, and everything like that. Out of this conversation today, it is my sincere hope that you have been inspired to find a way to help people out, to find some resources that be helpful to yourself first and foremost, but then also make sure that as you're being helped, you share out the information to help another person. If you do know how to can, if you do know how to garden and things like that, please make sure you go and spread that information. Don't be selfish, good people. Knowledge is meant to be obtained and shared, not hoarded, because then you know better than the people sitting under the Thunderdome. Marcia said, "I don't trust the soil in California. South California. Is that South California? Am I reading this
Southern
correctly?
California, probably.
God is good, because it's mostly sand. Most of the food growers are in the Central Valley, which has richer and actual soil. Honestly, don't have time now. Friends do. However it gets done, whether it's in conversation together or a blog or whatnot. They gave St. Mark's money for food to the food bank instead of giving it to him directly like the rest of the churches. That's sad. That's sad."
It's unfortunate because we don't like somebody, we're going to take away from others.
And then Marcia helped us out and put USDA.HOV in the chat. Thank you, Marcia. We appreciate you. Your support.
So I know it's a little delay, so that's why they're responding afterward. I think we're like 30 seconds to 60-second delay. I think Marcia said the money hasn't been paid yet. But Mickey, you want to say anything before we close out this evening?
No, ma'am.
Well, we'll look up some resources. So when we come back on, we'll probably see some resources and see how it's going on. Because would it be November 1st by the time we get back on?
I assume so.
Hopefully we got some good news. And on that note,